We've got some spectacular comments from the new owners. Trust me, you don't want to miss it. We've got your practice updates to include injuries. And speaking of injuries, is Chase going to play or not? Got all that on your Daily Commanders update for 7 September. Let's go. Greetings and salutations. Welcome to your Daily Commanders update here on Ref the District. I am the Stoner. We are a part of the Believe Network, so make sure you check us out wherever you get your podcast audio, and of course on our YouTube channel. Make sure you hit that like, hit that subscribe. We appreciate you all very much. Got a lot to talk about today because it was a fun day with some comments yesterday, practice today, injury updates, all of that, and we're going to talk about Chase. Don't worry. Want to hear all your comments on that too. So let's get right into it. Yesterday, the owners were at the Economic Club in D.C. Whoever knows what that is, but it's some sort of club in D.C. All the owners were there. Josh Harris was there. Mark Ein, Mitchell Rales, Magic Johnson was there. They were all there, and they were doing an interview. So they were talking about the economics of buying the Washington football team and kind of all that goes into it. And it was an interview. And they answered questions, and they answered them really honestly, which I thought was really cool. Let's get to a couple and break them down just for a few minutes before we get into today's practice, injury reports, and all of that. All right, so first of all, from Matthew Paris here, he reported Josh Harris said that he met with Dan Snyder in London a few times throughout the sales process and said it was very cordial. Harris indicated that he wanted to meet with Snyder to see if Jeff Bezos was actually a serious contender in buying the Commanders. Josh Harris felt that they could make a competitive offer if Bezos was not in the running, which they did, and Bezos did not get into the running. So I think that's a really cool, we talked about it. There was all these rumors out there. Is Bezos getting in? Is he not? And if he is, there's going to be no competition because he can just go over the top of anybody if he really wants it. So he admitted it. He admitted that he was worried about Bezos being in on this sale process, and glad he wasn't because he ended up getting the team. So I thought that was pretty cool. It's pretty candid for somebody to say that. They're basically saying, "Look, I got billions of dollars, but I don't have Bezos kind of money." So that was the first comment there, and then he went to talk about the stadium. And so Rubenstein is the guy who was asking the questions at the Economic Club interview and asked Josh Harris if he has a preference for D.C., Maryland, and Virginia, because, of course, we're all wondering that ourselves. Josh Harris says, look, we're looking. We're very excited to be welcomed by all three jurisdictions. We have the beginning of a real estate group. All right, so Harris Blitzer has a real estate group. He's one of the owners as well. But the Commanders recently hired a guy by the name of Thad Sheely, which we talked about on our Daily Commanders update when he was hired as a consultant. They're all in on getting a new stadium. They know they need a new stadium. They're going to go where it's best for the dollar, not necessarily best for fans, which is fine. One of those three places is going to be great. They're not going to go crazy and go out there to Dumfries in Virginia, or they're not going to go out to way out towards West Virginia, way out in the Ashburn area and past that in Loudoun County. And not doing that, they'll make a sound financial decision that will work out for the fans. So, again, I thought that was a pretty good thing that he said, talking about the stadium and how they're working on it, and they've got the people in place to work on the stadium. The next thing he said also I thought was pretty cool was he says he'll be very involved. This is Josh Harris from Sam Fortier. Says he'll be very involved with the Commanders despite his other commitments. We know he's got those other commitments with the Devils in the NHL and the Nets. I always say the Nets. The 76ers in the NBA. But he said, we're going to be at every home game. You're going to see a lot of me. Harris called the Commanders, and this is really cool, an intergenerational asset. Added he doesn't expect to sell the team. Now, he could change his mind, but right now there's just no way, and he loves this new job, and he understands the gravity of what he's facing. So he is going to be at the games. We've already seen all kinds of stuff going on with the parties that are set up for this weekend and Friday, and lowering of beer prices and food prices and $40 million investment in the stadium. He's done nothing but great things so far with this organization. And that's just another example there saying, look, I know I've got these other things, but Commanders, that's the big one. So I'm going to be completely involved in that and looking forward to being at all of the home games. You'll probably see him on some road games as well. So that's pretty cool. The name issue came up again. All right, look, I understand the name issue. People were tired of it, and we'll just read this real quick. This is from Nikki Javala, and this is from Mitchell Rales, one of the owners, when asked about changing the name again. This is what Mitchell Rales said. We could take the easy way out and say we're not focused on that right now. What I can tell you is we're not focused on the previous name, i.e. the Redskins. That ship has sailed. We're not going to relitigate the past. We are about the future. We are about building the future, not having a divisive culture that we're engaged in. We're going to look at everything come the end of the year and think about a lot of different things and do a lot of testing and see what people think. So for all of those, okay, so you're not going to change the name back to the Redskins. Are you going to change the name? That lends itself some credibility to that argument that they may actually change the name. We'll get there when we get there. Let's play some football first, and let's talk all about that, and then we'll get to that particular topic at the end of the year. Another thing that was talked about in this interview, which is pretty awesome, from John Keim, Rales said that after the sale, he and Harris had lunches with 10 to 12 players at a time, picked their brain as to what they wanted and needed, and said the players were very candid. How cool is that? How cool is that if you're a player and the owner comes to you and say, what do you need to be successful? What do you need? I'm going to listen, and I'm going to see if we can't provide that. This ownership group, I don't know, we're getting spoiled already. Everything they're doing and saying has been fantastic. So good on them for that particular one as well. Now let's talk a little bit about what they are talking about on the field. David Rubenstein asked them, and this is from Nikki Javala, what about when they'll decide if they'll keep or move on from Coach Rivera. Josh Harris again. I've really enjoyed getting to know Coach Rivera. He's a good man. He's done a great job getting the team to where it is relative to where it was when he got that. We've said we're getting up to speed. We want to hear how you think. We want to learn how you make decisions, and it's going very well. Everyone who coaches an NFL team or an NBA team, and us as owners, we all realize that ultimately we have to deliver wins on the field. So you don't really need to say anything. It's just out there. But so far, so good. Kind of a lukewarm endorsement of Rivera, but it's saying what we've all been saying. Win, and Ron keeps his job. You don't win, he's not keeping his job. End of that particular story. Next, we have, and this is the last one on the owners meeting. We'll get to the updates from today. Sorry, this is going on, but these are some great quotes. I really wanted to talk about these quotes from Sam Fortier. Josh Harris says he was not in the room when the Commanders cut the roster to 53, and he isn't sure if he'll be in the draft war room in the spring. He said he definitely won't pick players. Quote, you want professionals picking the players. Thank you, baby Jesus. Thank you, baby Jesus, for saving us. That's exactly what you want to hear from your owner. The owner should never pick players. If you do, your name's Jerry Jones, and look how that's gone after those couple of Super Bowls 30 years ago. Not quite 30, but you know what I'm saying. He picks guys like Trey Lance without even talking to the coach. We don't want that. We want the guy to give you all the resources and then get out of the way and let the professionals do it. Thank you, Josh Harris. Thank you for consistently, since you've been here, and the entire ownership group, thank you for consistently doing things and saying things that we all would hope you would do. We've been saved. And now let's hope that that translates to on the field. Let's talk about on the field today. Sorry that took so long, but again, there's a lot of good stuff in those quotes from the Economic Club interview. Today, the weather came through and they started practice outside. They had to move into the bubble. And then I guess there was a pretty bad storm down there with hail and everything. but they were inside the bubble, so that didn't bother them at all. Man, the heat's crazy. If you're not in this area and you watch us from outside the DC area, the DMV, it's hot. It is in the 90s with heat indexes towards the hundreds. So, so being in that bubble couldn't have been all that great. It's not air conditioning in there, for crying out loud. So they did move it inside, and they had press conferences with Del Rio and Bieniemy today. And EB talked a lot about about how much he loves Sam Howell, but he talked about his absolute love for Terry McLaurin. He loves everything about Terry. Terry's not afraid to say, I don't know, or I don't understand, and then learn from it. Terry's a leader. He's a dog. He's everything that you want him to be. Yeah, we know that already, Eric Bieniemy, but I'm glad you're finally learning that as well. He said Terry's going to make a great coach one day, but he told the media, don't tell Terry I said that. He doesn't want him to think he's pushing him to coaching already. But yeah, love to see that he loves Terry. Del Rio came in and talked a little bit as well. But before we get to Del Rio, Del Rio did talk about preparing for a quarterback because Jonathan Gannon is not reporting who's going to be the starting quarterback. So they got to prepare for both. Two different types of quarterbacks. Josh Dobbs is a dual threat type quarterback. He's very mobile. Clayton Tune is not mobile, but he's 6'3", 215, somewhere around there. He's a bigger kid, but he can move around and he can run when he has to, but he's not a dual threat kind of guy. So you got to prepare for both. And Del Rio talked about that. And then Del Rio did talk a little bit about Chase, saying, look, when Chase is ready, Chase says he's ready. When the doctors say he's ready, then he'll be out there. So let's get to the injury report from today. This is the official injury report from the Commanders. Terry McLaurin was a full participant today. That's fantastic news. Expect him to play on Sunday. Chase Young again was limited for the second straight day, and Dax Milne did not practice for the second straight day. Benjamin St-Juste, full practice yesterday and today. I don't know why he has to be on the injury report if he's a full practice. I understand like Terry was limited yesterday, so you need to give an update today. But why is St-Juste even on the injury report if he's practicing fully? That's just one of my pet peeves. But whatever. But yeah, so Chase was at Dax Milne not being there. Look for a corresponding move. The signing of Jamison Crowder. I'm guessing he's coming up. He'll be active, and Dax Milne will be inactive. And that also tells you a little bit something about Kazmir Allen, right? He's not ready if they're going to sign Jamison Crowder and probably bring him up, which is understandable. He's undrafted free agent. He needs to develop. He's not ready for that role because you have to be able to run the routes as well as being a returner with this program. Ron, he loves his guys who can do multiple things. I'm not using the phrase that everybody hates. So that's why I think Jamison Crowder would be selected ahead of Kazmir Allen. And then, of course, we're going to talk about Chase here real quick. I do want to kind of give a little soliloquy, if you will. But this is what Del Rio said about Chase. He's working hard to be ready to go. He came back as healthy as I've seen him since his rookie year. It's great to see. We're waiting on the blessing from the doctors to give him a green light. When we get there, he'll go. Here's my problem with the whole waiting for the blessing from the doctors. Chase doesn't have to wait for an appointment to see a doctor. He's not like you and I. When we have to make an appointment, it might be 2 weeks. It might be a month till we can go see the doctor. If Chase wants to see the doctor, he can see the doctor in 2 minutes. It's his doctor, and he's an important guy, and his status is time sensitive. The fact that he's not going to see the doctor, to me, and this is just me, again, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just trying to interpret what I see and what I hear about Chase. If he's not going to see the doctor, that means that if he did go see the doctor would not clear him. Because why else would you not go to see the doctor? Is he not available? Is he vacationing in Aruba? Hello, we got a football game to play here on Sunday. We got practices to get ready for that football game. With Chase Young wants to get to see his doctor, it would take him 2 minutes. And if that's the case, which I believe it is, that means the doctor will not clear him today. Maybe it's tomorrow. So they're going to have to keep pushing it down the road until the doctor knows that he's going to clear Chase Young. Why do they keep pushing it down the road? Because he's not going to be cleared if they don't. That's my humble opinion. Again, I'm not trying to be a hater. I'm just trying to interpret what I see, what I hear. If you have a difference of opinion on that, let me know. Put it in the comments, and maybe you can convince me otherwise. But right now, that's my opinion. Chase is out there, but he's not having any contact. He's doing all kinds of drills. It's been more than a month since he got this stinger in game 1 of the preseason game, which was August 4th. What's today? September 7th? It's been more than a month, and he hasn't had any contact. And the doctor, you have to keep saying, well, as soon as he sees the doctor, we'll go see the doctor. Well, he's not going to see the doctor because the doctor will say you're not cleared. So hopefully in the next day or two, he can be cleared, and we'll see what happens for game 1. We've got lots of great stuff coming up for you. Today's Daily Commanders Update. Tomorrow, your Daily Commanders Update will feature none other than NBC4 Washington's J.P. Finley, Commanders beat reporter. He's going to be on the show with Nathan and I. We'll be talking to him about Chase, about Terry, about the owners, all that good stuff. So you're going to want to see that. And then Saturday, we're going to have a game preview with the Believe in Cardinals guys. We're going to talk to them. That's Ed Smith, former tight end, and Javon Adams. And then Sunday, we'll have your live watch party, 12:30. Be there. Come check out the game. Come hang out with us. Watch the game there and have us on, and we're going to have a heck of a good time. Monday, day after reckoning, it's nonstop. We're always here. So make sure you hit that notification button on YouTube as well so that you're reminded of when we're going to be on. But that'll do it for the Daily Commanders Update here on the Stoner. Make sure you check us out. We appreciate you all. And until next time, be a fan.